Hey guys, welcome back to Charleston Cycles. This is Nestor Cup Crit number 5. This is the last crit of the year and the second one that I had the opportunity to do. Not a lot of time for introductory material here, because what I want you to notice is over on the right there's a group of 4 that makes a move out of the gate. I was a little caught off guard and was trying to decide whether to go or not, and then decided that probably mistakenly decided that I would try to hang on. If you watch the last section, the last crit that I did, where I talked about the course, this is all uphill through this turn here. And so right out of the gate, you can see me pushing 600-700 watts for an extended period of time. And we start to roll down the hill. Rear camera comes on, and you can see the gap that we've created. I really wasn't sure in the race whether or not anybody, if I was the last person or if other people had gone. You see me and this guy in front of me, he starts to back out, and I'm sure he's looking for me to come around and pull, but at this point I had just decided that this was not a winning move, and I had really made a mistake by trying to grab on. Now you can see now the peloton is coming up very quickly. Biggest concern at this point is that we don't get dropped when they come around, because they're single file moving fast, and so trying to just build up my speed here and do whatever I have to do just to make sure I can grab that back wheel. So you can see there's a big effort there to get on the group, and then pretty much just hold on. We'll try to see if we can run down the break. The guys who do that breakaway, they were super fast, and they were making several moves like that all day, just kind of keep the race interesting and that kind of thing. So I'll just fast forward just a little bit and show you what happens after I rotate up through the front of the group so we can see. Alright, so jump ahead here. I'm almost to the front of the rotation, and there he pulls over to the left, and you can see just up the road, you can see the brake, and those guys are still working good. I didn't want to pull for very long because I was still a little bit tired from the start of the race. So, but one thing that happens is when these guys go around me, you start to see that there's a little bit of a surge here, and these gaps start to form, and that's not good. When I slot in behind this guy, but he seemed to be struggling. One thing I know from the last time they raced this course is this turn up here is really the only sharp turn on the course, and so at least for the last race, the pace tends to slow down. So I was fine with just letting these guys come on around and fill in, take this turn without really losing any momentum, and I kind of just wanted to go up this home stretch, just sort of calmly, not having to lay down any more power than I had to in order to close this gap down. And so it sort of works out. I think I end up pretty much seeing, because as you can see, the pace is up to 29 miles an hour. So I did have to put out an effort, but I think the entire group is having to put up a pretty big effort just to kind of hang on here. So here we go across the start-finish line, and then we move into lap number 2. Again, this is just going into that uphill segment. So from now up through this turn and the next turn, it'll be a little slow, and still though the brake is they still seem to be holding us off, and I'm going to fast forward just a little bit more to show you a little bit about what happens when we start to catch them. And so fast forward just a couple of minutes here, you can see we're now 2.7 miles into the race. Pace here, you can see we're up to 31 miles an hour. The group's working well. We're moving fast, and so it's hard for me to believe that the group off the front is going to be able to hold us off as good as things are going. With that said, I'm still can't see them, and so the was talking to the official after the race was over, and if you so this is a timed race. It's 45 minutes long, and what they do is they measure the lap time for the first few laps, and he calculates an average lap time, and then that average lap time he used to calculate the total number of laps. The race ends up being about 16 miles long, and hopefully if we get up here, this is the long straightaway where, if you remember on the last lap, we got a good view of where the group up the road is. But the official, he actually told me that so this is the Cat 4-5 race. He said that our average lap time was better than the P12 race that they had from a week or a month ago. And one thing that can happen on something like this is there's the group up the road. So he's closing the door pretty quickly on them here, and if they can get a gap that's demoralizing enough that the peloton kind of just loses confidence, then then that's not a good situation. And fortunately, we were able to just keep them kind of close enough where there they are. We could. I think we always believed that we could run them down, and so great effort by those guys. They held us off for almost 4 miles. They held off that group, and you can see the guy in the front. He's the eventual race winner. Just raced really strong, really solid all day long. And like I mentioned, this turn pace always slows down. We just caught the break. Everybody's wanting to take some air, and then you watch this move right here. There's a counterattack that goes off the front, and great timing. Great timing for him to do that. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just like, oh guys, come on, give us a break. But it's great racing, and so they'll make a good effort. You can see they put in a gap, but for the most part, everybody just kind of sits up, and nobody really going after it immediately. So I just show you kind of in fast forward speed how long it takes to run this down. You still see the race speed is still bouncing around 25 miles an hour or so. It's a good effort. You can see them there already off the front. So no danger in that getting away. Okay, so we skip forward just a little bit here, getting sort of close to the halfway point. Everybody's playing nice, and then you see here's another move off the front. One thing I just wanted to point out is a lot of times you see people really eager to go after that. I think if anything, even this race has shown that I don't think anybody's going to solo away at this point. And I had several riders behind me, so I just kind of pull over, and you see my wattage there is like nothing. Because I just don't want to burn a match to close that gap down. I'd rather just let the group fill in behind me. And then if you look here, everybody sits up. And so if anything, even after not putting in any effort at all, you're almost having to hit the brakes after that move closes down. So it's just one thing I kind of picked up on this year is just because there's a surge doesn't mean that you necessarily need to spike your power and try to close it down immediately. Sometimes you just kind of relax and let people fill in, and before you know it, look, everybody's 5 bikes wide and bunched up together, and back racing again. So real quick, right here on the right side of the track, you see my wife standing there. She was great. She's holding up her fingers. You can't see it, but we had kind of a sign system worked out where she could tell me how many riders were off the front, how big the gap was, and so that was really cool. It was very useful to have that information. So I kind of knew the splits every time I'd come around for how far away when there was a group up the road, how far away they had gotten and that kind of thing. So that did work out really nicely. So I did just want to talk just a little bit. This is, I think, the 6th crit that I've done. This year is obviously my first year to do it, and I had a lot of concerns going into the sport. Ranging from how dangerous is it to race in a Cat 5 race? How fast would it be? Would I be able to actually even keep up? Those were all concerns I had, and just a lot of things that I found, having done it now several times. No doubt it can be dangerous and things can go wrong, but for the most part, all the guys I've ridden with, whether it's been in Savannah or Charleston, had good bike handling skills, and were for the most part courteous riders who were just enjoyed a race, and so never really felt like it was dangerous. There's been a couple times where I got into situations this year where I could see that it had potential to go wrong, and you back out of those situations, put yourself in a safer spot, and ride as smart as you can. So that was just kind of been my philosophy this year. The other part of it is meeting the other riders who do this kind of racing. Probably had been told that they're going to be arrogant, or they're going to not be very friendly, and really nothing could be further from the truth. I met so many people, Savannah, Charleston, that follow, whether it's on Strava or follow on YouTube, all up and down the East Coast now. Really, who I met through doing some crit races this year, and just great guys. Really don't have anything negative to say about the sportsmanship around doing it, and the interactions I've had with people. So I definitely can't wait next year to do this all over again. Having learned a lot about what I think I need to do differently next year to train to probably be better prepared to be able to do it. But the guys in Savannah, just great group of guys. Enjoyed racing with them both times I got to go down there, and definitely would go back again. So skipping ahead just a little bit, we're on getting close to like mile 13 of 18. I just want to show you, if you look here, my heart rate is just reached into the 150s. Some guys going pretty slow. Through all of that, I wind up getting stuck out here in the wind. And I just wanted you to notice that as the pace picks up here, if you look at my heart rate, this is what it can cost you just being in bad position. You can see that the pace is 30 miles an hour. I'm not in the draft. I'm out here in the wind. You see from the flag there, the wind is left to right, but I got no draft at all. And now that we're up to 29 miles an hour, all of a sudden I'm sitting here, heart rate has gone up into the 170s. Really and didn't gain any position or do any damage to any of the other riders fatigue-wise. So just showing you there the importance of staying in the line and not doing anything like what you saw me do there. Would be a good idea. But one good thing is I have noticed from just the training I've done, even though now heart rate's up to 173, you can see the pace has dropped all the way back down to 20 miles an hour. Thank goodness. So just from the training that I've done, the high intensity intervals and all that kind of stuff, my heart rate does tend to come down once the effort's over with. And so as long as these guys don't keep moving at that pace, and I'm smart enough to get out of the wind, I should be able to get the heart rate to come back down to something that's more manageable when it comes time to do the sprint at the end. Alright, so I wanted to pick up here just on the last lap. Just started into the last lap. This is just after turn 2, going into the downhill segment. There's about a mile and a half to go. You can see there's a couple of riders up the road, and for the last maybe lap and a half, the game has been just like for the rest of the day, to try to pull those guys back in. And the group is really motivated because we realize at this point we're running out of time. Basically, if we don't catch those two guys up the road, we're all racing for third place right off the bat. And so everybody is just really motivated to run them down. At the same time, realizing that it's the last lap, and everybody wants to save a little energy for the end of the race. So that's kind of what we're dealing with there. As we come down this, you can still see there's a sizable gap between us. I don't even really see where they are as far as that goes, but we're about to put in an effort to go get them, and pace picks up pretty quickly. There's just a couple of little turns, and then we'll go to the final straightaway. Yeah, you can start to see them a little bit here. For the most part, I think they just went into the turn there, and heart rate's 173. Really, this effort to get the guys pulled in was I didn't have a lot left for the sprint. You can see this guy in front of me. He was a pretty tall guy. I felt like he probably had a good sprint, and other than the guys being up the road, this was about where I wanted to be position wise. Here we're going to go into the last turn. My strategy was I was going to stay behind this guy as well as I could, and then when he went for the sprint, I was gonna I was just going to try to grab his wheel and maybe pass him at the end. Only unfortunate part is he never really made an effort that was what I really needed. And what you can see is there's a couple of guys both on the right and the left that end up coming around me. You got that guy on the right. I believe he finished third. The guy in blue there going up the left, I think, finishes fourth or fifth. And then I just kind of make a last-ditch effort to pick up maybe one more spot here, but we never really caught the guys who were up the road. They managed to hold us off there with that last break. So congratulations to them. This is a video of how it looked from the start-finish line. You can see there's big headwind coming into this slightly downhill segment, and when you get here, the peloton is not far behind those couple of guys up the road, but you can see there's definitely a gap, and we didn't quite catch them. So there's 1 through 4, and then there across the line. And so great race. Man, I really enjoyed the track. I enjoyed Savannah. If you have an opportunity to go down and race this Nestor Crit next year, go do it. If you hadn't liked and subscribed to my channel, go ahead and check that out. There's going to be a couple of good races coming up, maybe on a gravel bike soon, and I hope to be able to put some of that on the channel as well. So hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot for watching.